Grandma Sparky here, the founder of Blue Ribbons Worldwide. And this is a true story about how a 12-year-old girl ended a family feud on Thanksgiving Day. Here's what happened. It was only a week before Thanksgiving when I was invited to teach Katie's middle school class how to express appreciation, respect, and love using the Who I Am Makes a Difference blue ribbon. Everyone in Katie's class received a bag of 24 Who I Am Makes a Difference blue ribbons. It was my gift. And I told them all that during the holidays, make sure that everybody was honored and told how much they make a difference. And then to write a story and tell that story when they returned after the holidays and share it with their classmates. Katie said she hated Thanksgiving. Each year, her entire family always showed up for dinner, but no one seemed to like each other, and they just all hung out in the living room. And while her mom was a designated cook for the entire clan, her mom was very happy to stay in the kitchen all day and not have to be around the family members because it seemed like nobody was happy, but she was happy cooking the dinner. Her uncles sat around in the living room watching football on the TV. They booed and they cheered for their teams, but they never really spoke to one another. Katie's aunts sat around complaining about their children, their husbands, and life in general. And Grandma always sat alone on the living room sofa and no one ever talked to her. She always seemed so sad. Katie decided, I know now how to make a difference, and she raced upstairs to her bedroom and grabbed the bag of blue ribbons. First, she decided that she wanted to honor her mom, so she goes into the kitchen. Mom, I have a blue ribbon for you. It says, Who I Am Makes a Difference, and I want to honor you and tell you how you make a difference to me. You have a full-time job, and whenever I need you, you're always there for me. You listen to me. And you're really a great cook. I love you so very much. Will you accept this blue ribbon from me? And her mom took a deep breath and just kind of smiled and nodded, yes. May I have permission to place it over your heart? Her mom said, yes. As she placed the blue ribbon above her mother's heart on her apron, she said, Mom, it's tradition that I take the spark from my heart and put it in your ribbon. It's the sound that makes dreams come true. And the sound is bing! And her mom started to laugh, and they both started to laugh. Her mom looked her in the eyes and just said, Thank you, Katie. I really needed to be told this. It means the world to me. And they both started to cry, and they hugged each other. And that's when Katie took out an extra ribbon. And she said, Here, Mom, we're doing a class project on bringing love to our families during the holidays. Go and honor someone. And without hesitation, her mom just straightened up, wiped the flour on her apron, and just strutted right into the living room and sat down next to her mom, next to Grandma. And she said this, Mom, I have this blue ribbon for you, and it's time that I tell you how much you've made a difference to me. You see, after Ted walked out on Katie and me, I didn't know how to survive. You loan me money just so I can get by, and I was so embarrassed about the divorce and not having any money that I never knew how to say thank you. So I've been avoiding you all of these years just because I was so humiliated, and I'm deeply sorry. And Grandma placed her hand over her heart and touched the blue ribbon. And then her mom said, Oh, yes, and what's this thing, Katie, I'm supposed to do? Take the spark from my heart and put it in the ribbon or something? And Katie said, Yes, you take the spark from your heart and put it in the ribbon. It's the sound that makes dreams come true. And together they said, Bing! And Grandma started to laugh. And nobody had heard Grandma laugh. Oh, every Thanksgiving she was sad and sat in that sofa all by herself. But something was so different. And suddenly, Mom and Grandma's tears were just streaming down their faces. And they held each other's hands, and they just stared at each other, and they smiled and said, "Thank you." And from across the room, Katie's uncle Conrad shouted, "What's going on over there?" And Katie turned to her uncle and waved him over and said, "Doing a class project on how to bring love for Thanksgiving." And that's when she handed Grandma a blue ribbon and said, "Please honor someone else." Grandma called Conrad over and asked him to sit right by her side on the sofa. Suddenly, everyone gathered around to listen to what Grandma had to say. The uncles even stopped watching football, and their aunts quit complaining. "Conrad," Grandma said, "you are my youngest son and the first to go to college. I've always wanted to tell you how proud I was that you paid for your college tuition, graduated, and have a good job. I've never really told you that because I didn't want your brothers to feel that they weren't important." Then Grandma placed the blue ribbon over Conrad's heart and cheered him on for his dreams. Conrad kind of looked around, embarrassed a bit, but then Katie gave Conrad a few more blue ribbons and said, "Why don't you honor someone else?" And Conrad turned to his two older brothers and said, "I want to honor both of you. You see, after I graduated college, it seemed like we didn't have anything in common anymore. You both made fun of me, calling me that big college guy. I thought you didn't like me anymore. Charlie, I never told you that I like your sense of humor. And Mike, you are really a great auto mechanic. You both have families to support, and you weren't able to go to college. And I just think you're both terrific men and good fathers." And the blue ribbon continued as the uncles turned to their wives and told them each how they were really good moms and how they took care of the kids and just were there to support their husbands. They said they were sorry for not telling them how much their wives made a difference. And their wives started to cry, and the husbands were crying, and they were hugging each other. And suddenly, Katie gave the aunts ribbons to honor their husbands, and her complaining aunts started to tell their husbands how much they appreciated them for working so hard, for coming home, for being there for all of them. And it was just something happened in the whole family. And all of a sudden, Katie's nieces and nephews ran into the house. They were playing outside. And they yelled, "When's dinner going to be ready? When's dinner going to be ready?" And they were ages 4 and 7 and 10 and 11. And they started to look around and wonder, why are you all so happy and wearing these blue ribbons? And Katie gave her aunts and uncles ribbons to honor their children. And they called their children over and told them, "Well, I like your smile, and you have a great sense of humor, and you're a good reader, and thank you for helping take care of your brother and sister." And they just went on and on about how much they loved their children. Something happened at the dinner table that night as they were all sitting around wearing their blue ribbons, because they started to share everything they were grateful for. And they turned and thanked Mom for giving them the best Thanksgiving dinner they had ever had. And they thanked her for being such a fantastic cook. Katie said, "My mom just blew her nose so hard and tears were streaming down, but they were happy tears in her face." And then the family decided as a group, well, why don't we just share Thanksgiving at each of our different houses each year and all pitch in and bring our favorite dishes? Katie's mom said, "Oh my gosh, thank you, but I want to make the turkey and the stuffing." And her aunt said, "We'll make the potatoes and the gravy." And everybody started to pitch in saying what they wanted to bring that was their favorite dish. But most of all, everybody was laughing and cheering and supporting each other's dreams. And they began to talk about their dreams. And it changed everything that they had begun to talk about at the beginning. At first, it was gratitude. Now it was the Bing, and they cheered their children on for their dreams and asked them what was their dreams too. And their 11-year-old said, "Well, I want to be a really great artist." And one of the boys said, "I want to be a football player." And the other said, "I want to be a mechanic like you, Dad." "And I want to be a designer of fashion clothes," said another. And each one went, "Oh, wow, let's just always support each other's dreams." When Katie returned to school, she told her classmates about how the Blue Ribbon Thanksgiving ended their family feud and taught them all how to love.